If you've been searching, is now a good time to buy a home in Fort Collins? I want to give you a straight answer. Not a hedge, not a well, it depends on your situation, non-answer, a real answer based on what's actually happening in the Fort Collins real estate market right now in 2026. I'm Jason Levi with the Levi Group. I work in this market every single day. Buyers, sellers, investment properties, luxury homes across Fort Collins, Windsor, Timnath, and Larimer County. And I'm going to tell you exactly what I think. Here's my honest opinion. Yes, right now in the spring of 2026 is one of the better times to buy a home in Fort Collins that we've seen in the last 3 or 4 years. Not because the market is perfect, it isn't, but because the conditions have shifted in a way that genuinely favors buyers, and most people sitting on the fence don't realize it yet. I know that might surprise you. You've been hearing about high interest rates, you've been watching prices, you're nervous. That's completely understandable. And I'm going to walk you through every piece of data behind that opinion so you can decide for yourself. Here's what we're going to cover. The current Fort Collins housing market data you need to know. Why buyers have more leverage right now than at any point since 2019. What's actually happening with interest rates and what to do about them. The 5 specific things that make 2026 a buyer's window in Northern Colorado, and the one big risk of waiting, which nobody talks about. Stay with me. This is the video I wish someone had made buyers in this market. Let's start with what's actually happening in Fort Collins real estate market right now, because a lot of what you're reading online is either national data that doesn't apply here or it's outdated. Here's the real picture. As of spring 2026, the median house price in Fort Collins is sitting right around $530,000 to $545,000, depending on the data source you use. Redfin, Zillow, Houseo. What matters is the direction. Prices are down between 2 and 7% compared to last year. That's not a crash, but it means buyers are getting more home for their money than they were 12 months ago. Homes are averaging around 55 to 62 days on market. Compare that to the pandemic frenzy when homes were going in 5 to 7 days with multiple offers and wave inspections. That world is gone. Today, buyers have time to think, time to schedule a second showing, time to get an inspection, time to negotiate. Now here's a number that tells the whole story. Homes in Fort Collins are selling for 98.2% of their list price on average. What that means practically is sellers are willing to negotiate. A 3 to 5% below asking offer on a home that's been sitting past 30 days is not only reasonable, it's being accepted. That was unthinkable in 2021 and 2022. And here's what Fort Collins realtors on the ground are actually saying. The Colorado Association of Realtors described the March 2026 Fort Collins market as, and I'm paraphrasing here, highly unpredictable with uneven activity across price points. Move-up homes in certain areas are seeing strong demand, but other segments have limited buyer interest and longer selling times. That unevenness is actually a buyer's friend if you know how to read it. The bottom line on the market, Fort Collins is a balanced to buyer favored condition right now. Not every property, not every neighborhood, but as a general rule, buyers have more power than they've had in years. Now let's talk about the thing that's been keeping buyers on the sidelines more than anything else: interest rates. Right now, conventional mortgage rates in Colorado are running roughly 6.4%, depending on your credit profile, your down payment, and which lender you use. That is meaningfully higher than the 3% rates of 2020 and 2021. There's no point pretending otherwise. Rates have made buying harder. But here is what I want you to really think about. Those 3% rates are gone. Economists, the Federal Reserve mortgage analysts, virtually everyone who studies this is saying those rates are not coming back in any meaningful time frame. The Mortgage Bankers Association is projecting rates to stabilize in the 6.5 to 7% range through the rest of 2026. So if you're waiting for rates to drop back to 3 or 4% before you buy, You could be waiting a very long time. And while you wait, prices can move. Now, there are things that smart buyers are doing right now to manage the rate reality. First, rate buydowns. This is where the seller contributes money at closing to buy your interest rate down, either permanently or for the first few years of the loan. In Q1 of 2026, more than half of transactions in northern Colorado included some form of seller concession. Many of those were rate buydowns. You can negotiate this as part of your offer. The payment goes down without waiting for the Fed. Okay, second, ARMs, or adjustable rate mortgages. These are not the predatory products that they were in 2008. A 7/1 ARM gives you a fixed rate for 7 years, often lower than the 30-year fixed rate, and then it adjusts. If you plan to refinance or sell within that window, an ARM can make real sense. Talk to your lender about it, and if you need a lender recommendation, reach out. I'm happy to connect you with someone I trust. Okay, real quick, if you're watching this and you're actively thinking about buying a home in Fort Collins or northern Colorado, I want to offer you something. I do free buyer strategy calls. No pressure, no sales pitch. We look at your specific situation, your budget, your timeline, your target neighborhoods, and I give you an honest read on whether now makes sense for you personally. The link to book directly on my calendar is the first link in the description. Calendly.com/Jason Levi. I want to give you 5 concrete data-backed reasons why 2026 is specifically a buyer's window in the Fort Collins market. Not fluff, real reason. Reason number 1, you have negotiating power you haven't had in years. When homes sit on the market for 55 to 60 days on average, sellers get anxious. They start thinking about price reductions. They start being more open to concessions, closing cost credits, rate buydowns, repairs. This is the environment we're in right now. In 2021, buyers were waiving inspections just to compete. Today, you can ask for an inspection, ask for repairs, ask for a concession, and negotiate on price, all in the same offer. That's a completely different game. Reason number 2, prices have softened from their peak. Fort Collins home values are roughly down 2 to 7% year over year, depending on the price point and the neighborhood. That might sound not dramatic, but on a $550,000 home, that's $11,000 to $38,000 in price reduction baked in before you even negotiate. And in the luxury move-up segments, the $700,000 to $1.2 million range that I work a lot in, there are some genuinely well-priced opportunities right now because sellers who bought in 2021 and 2022 have adjusted their expectations. Timnath is a great specific example. Inventory there has been elevated with a lot of new construction competing with resale. Buyers in Timnath now have real options and real leverage. Same story in parts of Windsor and some of the newer Fossil Creek developments. New construction is throwing incentives at you. Builders in northern Colorado, including Toll Brothers in Timnath and others across Windsor and North Fort Collins corridors, are running significant buyer incentive programs right now. We're talking rate buydowns to 5.25% to 5.5%, design credit packages worth $10,000 to $20,000, and closing cost contributions. Builders do this when the inventory sits, and right now inventory is sitting in some of these communities. If new construction is on your radar, this is the window. Builder incentives shrink fast when the market picks up. Right now, you can get a brand new home at a rate that is meaningfully below what you'd get on a resale with a conventional loan without even negotiating. Reason 4. Fort Collins' long-term fundamentals are as strong as ever. I'm not just telling you to buy because the short-term conditions favor buyers. I'm telling you Fort Collins is a market worth buying in for the long term. Think about what makes the city go. Colorado State University, 33,000 students, 8,000 faculty and staff, anchoring the economy and the rental market. Major employers like Hewlett-Packard, Enterprise, Woodward, Broadcom, a craft beer outdoor recreation culture that keeps attracting young professionals and families, and a population that's been growing consistently for decades. These are not things to go away because interest rates are high. Fort Collins is not a boom and bust market. It's a steady, desirable, growing city, and that's what you want underneath a long-term real estate investment. Okay, reason 5, and most buyers underestimate it. Here's the math that nobody runs until it's too late. Every month you wait to buy a house in Fort Collins, you are paying rent. The median rent for a single family home in this market is not cheap. You're likely paying $2,000 to $2,800 a month or more, depending on where you are and what you're renting. That money builds zero equity. It does not come back to you. Meanwhile, even at modest appreciation, say 2 to 4% annually, which is what most forecasters project for Fort Collins through 2026 and 2027, a $550,000 home is worth between $561,000 and $572,000 in a year. That's $11,000 to $22,000 in equity you didn't build because you were waiting for rates to drop. And here's the other side of that coin. If rates do drop meaningfully, say to the low 5s, what do you think happens to Fort Collins home prices? Demand floods back in, competition returns, the negotiating leverage you have today just evaporates. The buyers who are in the market right now, taking their time, negotiating concessions and rate buydowns, those are the buyers who will look back in 3 years and say they got the timing right. Now, I want to be honest with you. Not everyone should buy a house right now. There are real situations where waiting makes sense, and I'm not going to pretend otherwise. If you don't have stable income, or your employment situation is uncertain, wait. A mortgage is a long-term commitment and you need a solid foundation under it. If you haven't saved enough for a down payment and emergency reserves, wait. Buying a home and then having no cushion for repairs, job changes, or life surprises is a recipe for financial stress. Get your savings right first. If you're planning to move within 2 to 3 years, think carefully. Real estate is a long game. Transactions costs on both sides of your purchase eat into your gains. If you're not going to be here for at least 3 to 5 years, the math gets harder. And if you're buying purely out of fear of missing out and haven't done the financial homework, just slow down. Talk to a lender, know your real numbers, make sure the monthly payment works for your life, not just the purchase price. But if you're financially stable, you're planning to stay in Northern Colorado, and you've been sitting on the fence waiting for some perfect signal, I'd argue that the signal is already here. You're not just seeing it, because the headlines are still scary. Alright guys, if I've convinced you that it's worth exploring, here's exactly what I want you to do. Step 1, get pre-approved. Not pre-qualified, pre-approved. Speak to a local lender who knows the Colorado market. Again, if you need a recommendation, please reach out to me. Get a real number so you're not guessing at what you can afford. This costs you nothing and takes a couple of days. Step 2, get clear on your neighborhoods. Fort Collins, Windsor, Timnath, Fossil Creek, Kector Farm, these submarkets all behave differently right now. Some favor buyers more than others. Knowing where you want to be narrows your search and your strategy. Step 3, talk to an agent who works in this market full time. Not an agent from Denver, not a part-time agent, not someone who does a couple of deals a year. Someone who's watching the data daily and can tell you specifically where the leverage is, which listings have been sitting and why, and how to structure an offer that gets accepted while protecting your interests. I work with buyers across these markets. If you want to have that conversation, no pressure, no commitment, the link to book a call with me is in the description. It's the first link, calendly.com/Jason Levi. Here's the bottom line. Is now a good time to buy a home in Fort Collins? In my professional opinion, yes, if your finances are in order and you're planning to stay. The market data backs it up. Prices are softer. Sellers are negotiating. Builder incentives are on the table. And the long-term fundamentals of this city are as strong as they've ever been. The buyers who win in real estate are not the ones who time the market perfectly. They're the ones who buy solid homes in great markets at reasonable prices and hold on to them. Fort Collins has been that market for decades. It still is. I'm Jason Levi with the Levi Group at Real Broker. If this video helped you through your decision, hit the like button. It helps other Northern Colorado buyers find this content when they need it. And please don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you want more honest takes on the Fort Collins real estate market. I put out videos like this every week. Book a call with me using the link in the description. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.